Strat-O-Matic Excel Carryover League. Brought to you by the Shrimp Troll.
(1973 to 1976). Welcome back, baseball fans, to the 1973-76 World Series. Live from Comiskey Park in Chicago. It's Game 1, the LA Dodgers and the Chicago White Sox. We hope you enjoyed the World Series preview video, which we posted last weekend. Check it out for more information on both clubs. We're just going to get right into our games. Game 1 for the Dodgers, it'll be Don Sutton. And for the Chicago White Sox, it'll be Jim Kaat. And we're going to F9, and we are underway in Game 1 of the World Series. Leading off for the Dodgers, it's Davey Lopes. 3-6, grounds are short. Bill Buckner, 2-8, pops out. And Steve Garvey, 5'10", catcher's X. Today's catcher is Stinson. He's a 4'10", and he makes the play. Bottom of the first, it's George Orta. 35 in the game's first hit. It's a single. Bob Stinson, 2-5 is a walk. 2 on for Dick Allen. In the LCS versus Baltimore, Game 1, first 2 men reached. Dick Allen hit a 3-run bomb. Here's the pitch to Dick Allen. 67, he strikes out. Bill Melton. 3-6 is a walk. Bases are loaded for Ken Henderson. 69, a sac fly to center field. 1 zip. 2 outs. Lamar Johnson, 2-11. Grounds to short. White Sox lead 1 zip. The toy cannon Jim Wynn, 1-4. Flies to center. Ron Say, 59. Grounds to second. Steve Yeager, 57, is a K. Bottom of the second. It's Buddy Bradford. 1-5. Let's take a look at Buddy Bradford's card of 1973. A 238 average, but most of the damage is versus righties. And 1-5 is gone, and it's 2-0 Chi Sox. Tony Muser, 58, pops to third. Bucky Dent, 55, second X, your second baseman. Lopes, a 3-12. Makes the play. And Orta, he grounds the second, but it's 2 zip. Top of the third, it's Willie Davis, 56, a strikeout. Bill Russell, 2-3, short. Willie Crawford, 210, he strikes out. Jim Kaat, 9 up and down. Normally he gives up, a couple singles at least, but he's been brilliant through the first 3 frames. Bob Stinson, 69, flies to center. Dick Allen, 39's a walk. Bill Melton, 39, is a single 1-11, and he cannot convert. And with 2 outs, it's Ken Henderson, 68, a pop to third. We go to the fourth. Davey Lopes, 110 in there, is the Dodgers' first hit. It's a single. Lopes being held on. You got a +1 arm you could run on, but you're down a couple. A lot of times in these situations with Buckner batting second versus lefty, they like to try a hit and run. They're going to do it here. Moves the runner up. Steve Garvey, 2-9. That's going to be a base hit in a right field. Do you run Lopes? Sure, you got to be aggressive. He's going to run him. He's going to score in a 13. It's 2-1. Runner at first, 1 out. Jim Wynn, 59, second C. Tie run in scoring position, Ron Say, 6-12. He hits a ground ball back to the mound. 2-1, White Sox, bottom of the fourth. It's Lamar Johnson. 2-7's a strikeout. Buddy Bradford, 4-11. Right X, your right fielder. Crawford's a 3-7 in right field. Makes the catch. Oddly enough, he's a 2-7 in left. But Buckner's in left as a 1. Tony Muser, 55. Short X. Short 2E29. Makes the play. And the inning ends. One of the little inside baseball rules we use about the Crawford defense, home field advantage, is that we allow Crawford to be a 2 at home in his own park in right field, but a 3 on the road, where it's properly indicated. So that gives them a slight advantage when the Dodgers are back in Los Angeles. Top of the 5th, it's Steve Yeager. 5-12, rolls to first. Willie Davis, 55. Short X. Short, Bucky Dent's at 2E16. He makes the play. And Bill Russell, 1-5. Flies to left. Briskly moving along in a 2-1 game. Bottom of the 5th. Let's pause a moment for station identification.
This is the Shrimp Trawler video channel.
Este es el canal de videos de camaroneros.
Nice, tight game today. Bucky Dent leads off in the bottom of the 5th. 5-11 second X. Lopes, a 3E12. That's a base hit. George Orta. 66. Lines the 3rd. Bob Stinson, 3-5. Let's take a look at the Bob Stinson card of 1973. Part-time player, switch hitting catcher, power both ways with walks. Of course, the Expos wouldn't need him. They're going to get into the Gary Carter era. White Sox smartly picked this guy up. And again, the White Sox team, again, they're somewhat of an outlier. They weren't in the playoffs during this period. But they've built this team up with some clever free agents. Guys like Bob Stinson, Mike Garman made big contributions to this team. You know, so 3-5. Versus Sutton is homer 1 to 11. He cannot convert the homer, though, on a 16. It is a double with 1 out. Does Orta run? He's going to run, try and score from first on the double. And he does with a 9. Both teams being aggressive on the bases. It's 3-1. Runner at second for Dick Allen. 1-4 flies to left, and with 2 outs. Bill Melton, 1-4, is a strikeout. We noted earlier that Sutton has been kind of ordinary down the stretch versus Messersmith, who's been dominant. And today, well, he's given up 3 runs in the 5 frames, only 1 3-up and 3-down inning for Don Sutton. Already over his ERA with 3 runs allowed. Top of the 6th, it's Willie Crawford. 2 nines, a strikeout. Davy Lopes. 2-3, pops to 3rd. And Buckner, 1-9's a base hit. A stealer, he will not run down like 2 runs, letting Garvey hit away, number 1, because he can't hit into a double play with 2 outs. Number 2, for a chance to tie the game. Here's the pitch to your MVP of 1974, Steve Garvey. 1-4 flies to left. Kitty Cott, apparently the right choice to pitch game 1. Dodgers not nearly as good versus lefties as righties. It weakens Buckner and Davis and Crawford. Bottom of the 6th, it's Ken Henderson. 45, double 1 off Sutton's cards, base hit. Now you got a B stealer on the bases, but Yeager has got a -3 arm. I think you want to stay put at first, just to see what happens here. Lamar Johnson. 4-4 off Sutton's card. Homer, 1 to 13. He misses it. It's a double. You could run Henderson again from first, but there's nobody out. So they're going to pump the brakes with a 2-run lead and 2 men on, no one out. You know, Sutton is a Mount Rushmore pitcher, but he had a chance to, you know, play it safe. You got the lead. 2nd and 3rd. Dodgers, do you bring it up? I'm more likely bringing it up with 1 out versus 0 outs. So we're going to play it back. Buddy Bradford. 3-7's a K. Now I'll bring it up with 1 out and Tony Muser. 1-11, pop out. And with 2 outs, it's Bucky Dent. 1-7, a pop out. And Sutton is Sutton to finish off the 6th inning. Should they have run Ken Henderson? Maybe. But they've got a 3-1 lead as they go to the top of the 7th. Cott's breaking inning. Probably a couple batters will chase him. It'll be Jim Wynn leading off. 2-6, grounds short. Ron Say, 2-11, grounder to the 3rd. And Steve Yeager. 2-11 again, grounds to short. Dodgers, nothing today. Couple singles in the 4th. All they can do for Cott. Fans on their feet at the 7th inning stretch. Here in Chicago, we are enjoying the Sweet Exorcist LP of Curtis Mayfield, born in Chicago, 1974. Sweet Exorcist, Kung Fu, Power to the People, all in this brilliant recording by Curtis Mayfield, a Chicago legend. Back to the game in the bottom of the 7th. Can the White Sox build on the lead? Sutton's a starter 9. He's not going anywhere. At least until the Dodgers potentially tie or take a lead. Then they'll go to Marshall. But bottom of the 7th, the top of the White Sox lineup is George Orta. 1-4, he flies to right. Practically will leave the game for defense at this point with 4 at-bats already. Bob Stinson, 66, lines a second. Also will leave the game with Brian Downing a better throwing catcher against the speedy Dodgers. And Dick Allen, 56 is a K. All right, the White Sox have brought in all their defense. Oh, no, they haven't. They're going to bring in Coluccio. Now the White Sox have got all their weapons in the game, 6 outs away from a Game 1 victory. They got the defense in the outfield, second base, catcher, throwing arm. Gossage is ready. Forster's ready. Cott's been brilliant. We got 3 singles and a run in a 3-1 affair. Top of the 8th. Can't let this one get away. And you got 2 of the first 3 batters are left-handed. Good news for Jim Cott. Here is Willie Davis. 1-3, pops to first. Bill Russell, 49, skies the center field, and with 2 outs, fans are on their feet. They know what's going on here. Willie Crawford. 2-3, grounds to second base. Jim Kitty Cott. Is that the last inning? With Lopes, Buckner, Garvey, Wynn, and Say, you got to figure Gossage will pitch the 9th. 3-1 game, bottom of the 8th. It's Bill Melton. 2-10, grounds to the pitcher. Ken Henderson, 1-7, 1-1, base hit. B. Steeler, do you run him here? -3 arm catcher, no. Coluccio could do a hit and run, though. He will. Moves the runner up with 1 out, mostly because hitting and running increases his batting average over his weak card. So that moved the guy up. Now you got a runner in scoring position for Buddy Bradford, who homered in this game. 2-9 is a strikeout. We'll go to the 9th. Do you do it now? You do it. You have to go to Gossage in this situation. So, Rich Gossage will pitch the 9th inning. Of course, Gossage, the brilliant 75. 9-8, a $1.84 ERA in 142 innings. Somehow they let him. They said, well, that means you can go into the rotation, throw over 200 innings. Didn't make a whole lot of sense. Then they shipped him off to the Pirates. Also didn't make a whole lot of sense. But here he is, if he stayed in Chicago. Well, he's on a World Series team, folks. That's funny. He played in the World Series for the Yankees, I believe. Huh. We go to the 9th. Lopes, Buckner, Garvey, Say, and Wynn in there. Here is Davey Lopes. 1-9, double 1-4 is a base hit. Now, do you let him go down to second base with a 2-run lead? I think you do. He goes down to second. You don't want to give up a plus single. Takes away the double play. Though Gossage is not much of a double play pitcher. He's a strikeout pitcher. Bill Buckner, runner at second. Here's the pitch. 3-5, Buckner gets a single. Single dot. That puts runners on the corners. Now you hold Buckner. You don't want him to get to second base. You got -1 arm Brian Downing. You're not going to steal a base. Sets up a potential double play for Garvey. It's a thing he has to avoid. Your 1974 MVP. On the corners, no one out. Steve Garvey. Here's the pitch. 67's a strikeout. Punch out number 1 for the Goose. Now you got Jim Wynn and Ron Say. There are lefties, just saying, on the bench. Not good ones. Biff Pocoroba, Frank Baker, Horace Clark. But you just can't go away from the Dodger traditional players. Jim Wynn, Ron Say, Steve Yeager. This could be to the detriment of the Dodgers, sticking with their guns. Versus Goose. You got to hope you roll in your own card, L.A. You got no shot. But Jim Wynn hit 32 home runs in 1974. Here's the pitch to Jim Wynn. 3-4 is short A+. Let's take a look at the Jim Wynn card right now. Jimmy Wynn, 74 card and a 271 average, 32 home runs. It's a double play if you aren't holding, but you got Bill Buckner, a Steeler. You got to keep him at first base as the tie run. Jimmy Wynn hits the ball through a hole. It is a single. And the Dodgers are on the board, and they have the tie run at third. That is tough baseball. That's a tough break for the Chi Sox in the ninth. Not a lot you can do. Do you let Buckner go down to second base, and then that could be a two-run single? Or, moreover, they can get a two-run single to tie the thing. As it stands now, it's 3-2. Runners in the corners, 1 out. Wynn also being held. B Steeler. You don't want the lead run to get to second base. Dodger speed, even when they're not stealing bases. You don't have to steal bases off a -1 arm catcher to have an impact. They've already demonstrated the impact. Ron Say. Let's take a look at Ron Say's card. Do you play it up to prevent the tie or play back? Ron had 25 home runs and a 283 average in 1975. I count the B's on the card when I consider this. And it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's right. It's a it's a coin toss. Do you want to keep it up or back? Righty as well. I'm keeping the infield up. Another reason you might want to keep the infield up is if you get the single, there's nobody at second base presently to give the Dodgers a lead. So infield will come up with 1 out in a 3-2 game. Here's the pitch to Ron Say. 67's a punch-out, strikeout. That was the right call. You're not going to get a double play with Gossage out there. 2 strikeouts on Gossage's card. And you're still holding a runner. You have runners on the corners. You are playing back now. You can't really let that runner go down to second base, though. Another plus could be disaster. 3-2 game, 2 outs, runners on the corners with speed, and it's Steve Yeager. Let's look at Steve's card. Oh, boy. He is fine here. He's mostly known as a defensive catcher, but he has a very nice 1974, hitting .266 with 12 home runs. And it was a reason why we had the Dodgers trade Joe Ferguson in the offseason. They didn't need him. They had Yeager play most of the time. Here's the pitch to Steve Yeager. 59 is short X. This is Bucky Dent. We talk about great shortstop defense in playoff games. And he makes the play to end the game. Bucky Dent. Now, the other scenario we could have used is Pocoroba's a switch hitting catcher. That would have been second X, and that would have been Glenn Beckert. Not quite as good as Bucky Dent, but it's still an X. It doesn't really matter. It's all over. Yeager gets a ground out to an infielder. Pocoroba would have done the same thing to a different infielder. It's a ground ball to short to end the game. Gossage holds on and wins 3-2. Cott gets the victory. A sloppy save by Gossage in the ninth, though a hitter got a plus on their card. A tough luck loss for Don Sutton in Game 1. That concludes Game 1. White Sox win 3-2, and we'll be back with Game number 2.